It's good to see your smiling faces. All is well. Let your light so shine. I am the light of the world. While it is not so prominent in these days, it wasn't long ago when there was a recognition of a battle for the minds of men, and women too, presumably. This was usually seen in ideological terms of some kind. Human beings are taken up with this battle. Both being attacked and attacking. I'm sure somebody wants your vote. You have to grab hold of your mind to get it. Somebody wants to sell you his wares. You have to grab hold of your mind to do that. So we see a battle raging constantly. This battle might be seen symbolically as occurring between the heads of the dragon. They are all vying for first place. There is another battle which is described in the book of Revelation. There was war in heaven. Well, these battles I've been describing are occurring in the first heaven. That, after all, is where the dragon with his heads resides. And we may see it in terms of the human mind. What is it that shall characterize that facility? We are well aware that the Prince of Darkness has occupied this mental capacity in the world the way it is, his occupation involves a continuing battle. We have a recognition that this mental capacity should be occupied by the light rather than the darkness. It is the same mental capacity whether it is occupied by the light or the darkness. The first heaven is occupied by the darkness. The new heaven is occupied by the light. But it's the same mental capacity in either case. Obviously, it's not a matter of shucking off our minds, because then you would be left without any capacity at all. We have this rather remarkable capacity which heretofore has apparently chosen darkness. But which also is quite capable of choosing light. Here we see another war in the first heaven. The first heaven's full of war anyway, but there is something that can happen in the first heaven which may transform that facility into the new heaven. I think sometimes in considering this matter of the first heaven and the new heaven, there is the idea that somehow or other it's another person involved in the matter. It's the same person. It's the same capacity, which is either filled with darkness or filled with light. It's been so customary to be filled with darkness that the idea of being filled with light strikes terror in many hearts. Everything would then be exposed. Are we still somewhat afraid of what might be seen? If we were factually filled with light, there would be no hiding place. To be completely exposed seems that the original condition was one of nakedness, indicative of complete exposure. That was natural because the radiance of light was natural. And there was nothing to hide from. in allowing our minds to be restored from the state of Satan to the state of Lucifer, it is a matter of participating in the radiance of light. After all, Lucifer is the light bearer. We could not have the experience of Lucifer without bearing the light. So there is, in this heavenly capacity, the possibility of maintaining what has always been known in human experience since the fall, or allowing the door to be opened so that the radiance of light may put in an appearance. This is what is being described by war in heaven. It's war in the first heaven. That's the only starting point anyone has. If the new heaven was already a fact in human experience, there would be no problem. But the fact is, the first heaven, the heaven of darkness, so the light leads to permeate that darkness. And we ourselves have been willing, up to a point at least, to accept the responsibility of letting the light be banished, letting the darkness be banished. Our main concern in this regard was not so much to let the light shine as to get rid of the darkness. But you can't get rid of the darkness without letting the light shine. We don't align ourselves with the ideas of the institutional inmate who sought to bail the darkness of night out of his room with a bucket. It is simply a matter of letting the light shine. The shining of the light banishes the darkness. Now it is the fact that the darkness does not comprehend the light. How could it? It's dark. But the darkness vanishes when the light shines. The idea has been that there is some great struggle to go on, a great battle, an endless battle apparently, between the light and the darkness. But there is no battle between the light and the darkness. When the light goes on, the darkness is gone. Can you imagine some situation where the light is having a hard time getting rid of the darkness? It is simply a matter of letting the light shine. If one is identified with the darkness, the darkness comprehends not the light. We have much evidence of that fact all around us, and we have much experience of that fact within us. When it is dark, it is very, very dark. But when it is light, there's no darkness. What a very simple thing this is. The shining of the light prevails when it is present. The prince of darkness does not prevail and is cast out of the heaven. When the prince of darkness is actually cast out of that first heaven, which he has occupied for so long, there is the new heaven. It wasn't something other than it was before. The place is the same. The space is the same. But it's now occupied by light and not by darkness. There's no question as to the outcome of the battle or the war as long as the light is allowed to shine. Defeat comes and has been maintained because there is a struggling within the darkness. We have noted how the heads of the dragon contend with each other. They are vying for the minds of men. That's the sort of battle we can do without. We see people everywhere involved in this war. The war has come to focus recently in the free trade agreement, which is shortly to be signed, whatever that means. But the battle lines are drawn. Some say it's good, some say it's bad. What say you? That's the battle zone. We don't belong there. This bothers people who are involved in the battle. Why are you so weak and puny that you don't take up the cause? It might be said by each of us, I am so strong that I don't need to. That battle is of no concern whatsoever. It doesn't matter. IDM. Whatever is done, it will have an unfortunate effect. It doesn't matter which way it goes, it will have an unfortunate effect. Because here is the Prince of Darkness getting everybody well confused so that he may maintain his position, which is that of governing human minds. I don't care to have my mind governed by the prince of darkness. How about you? One of his heads will tell you you should go this way, another head will tell you should go that way. What difference does it make? I don't intend to go either way. There is just one way, and that is the way of light. And when light is allowed to shine in the realm where the Prince of Darkness has held sway heretofore, there is what might be described as war. I'm sure all of you have had some experience in this regard. I'm not talking about this superficial war that constantly goes on in the advertising world, or in the world of politics, or in the world of religion, or in any of the human worlds. I'm not talking about that. But when the light begins to shine, because you let it shine, all sorts of dark things erupt. There is war in this way. But darkness has no power over light. Why is it that so easily there is a fearful attitude toward the darkness? It's going to prevail. Oh, dear me. It's going to overwhelm me. This darkness is building up all around. What about letting the light shine? And where did the darkness go? It is the constant radiation of the light that dispels the darkness. It's rather magical, isn't it? Even in a room like this, if you put out all the lights, it's dark. Darkness appears to have triumphed. But put on the lights, where did it go? It wasn't anything in the first place. Let your light so shine. You're reaching a point where we begin to understand what that means. No more fear of the darkness. Many children are afraid of the dark. We've all been children. The easiest way to dispel that fear is to turn on the light. Let your light so shine. I am the light of the world, of my world in particular. If my light shines in my world, it's not dark anymore to me. It may be dark to the creatures of darkness around about, but to me, no. This shining of the light comes, as we know, individually speaking. One must do it or let it happen for oneself. But there begins to be a collective shining of the light in consequence. And the darkness is in the process of being dispelled. Keep the light coming. What fearful creatures human beings are. I suppose, in a way, naturally so. They've been creatures of the dark. We've all been that way. And we've suffered so in that darkness. Plagues, famine, earthquakes, all these things appear in the darkness. When such things put in an appearance, in our own experience, even in our own flesh, what do? Oh dear, this is the darkness. I must go to somebody who will manipulate this darkness so it isn't dark anymore. That's rather ridiculous, isn't it? Let the light shine. The only thing to be done. But one must do it for oneself. There's a tendency to rush around, find other people who are going to switch on the light somehow for us. No, they're not. They may provide momentary alleviation of something to give us the opportunity to let the light shine. If any of us have moved through difficulties of any kind, environmental difficulties, circumstantial difficulties, difficulties in our own bodies, difficulties of whatever kind, and someone has helped to alleviate whatever they were, one may give thanks for that, because one's still on hand to let the light shine. Otherwise, any help we received went for nothing. What happens when these things put an appearance around us? Do we revert into the old state? Or is there a recognition that the shining of the light is the only way by which wholeness can be restored? The wholeness of our own physical flesh depends upon whether the light shines or not. Not upon whether you took your vitamins today. While you are meditating upon the advisability of letting your light shine, the vitamins may be useful. But don't meditate too long. Let your light so shine. As I say, this is an individual matter, initially. That as the responsibility is taken individually, and the light does shine individually, there is no more fear of the darkness. Then there begins to be a collective situation, which we know something about, don't we? And as was indicated this morning, the multiplication of the shining of the light is exponential in consequence. But it can't happen if we let the light shine a little and then decide to duck back into the darkness. We have this on-again, off-again situation. And the multiplication collectively can't take place very much, at least. The shining of the light brings forth an awareness of one's own angelic identity. Which is the light. The light is present because one still lives. The angelic identity is present. As Lucifer is restored, there is a transparency for the revelation on earth of that angelic identity. It comes with the light. I am the light of the world. I am the light of the world because I have a physical form in the world. Through that physical form, the light shines. But it reaches the physical form through my mind. Through the potential new heaven. As the light shines, the darkness is cast out. And there begins to be a new heaven on earth within the body of mankind, a safe place consistently maintained by the shining of the light. And it is the shining of the light that permits creation to occur. Perhaps we would think of that in terms of recreation, but it's creation. And as there is the clear shining of the light, through a unified body, the prince of darkness is cast into the earth. There is no heaven for him anymore. And all power is given to this new heaven present on earth, by which the creation occurs. Magic. Magic to the human view. It's been happening all along, in a way, as we noted, a very sluggish way. But when Lucifer is in place and the light is born, behold, I come quickly.
Martin, may this be so through us. It is each of us individually who are here to let the light be present in the worlds where we are. We need to let the light shine in our own worlds. As you said, it is only we individually who can do that. There is such a magic to light, even as we can comprehend it. It goes in unimaginable distances. We have no idea, actually, what is accomplished by our transparency as we simply let the light be present. As we have no concerns for what may arise, as we certainly have no fear, there is great power because we are present and we allow the creation that is potential to move quickly.
The light shines and creation occurs. The light shines in our individual worlds. Whatever your world is, that is available for the shining of the light. It doesn't matter what it is. Michael was speaking about foolish idea has been so firmly held by some that they should be somewhere else doing something else. Well, in a way, I suppose that's true, because they're not doing what they should be doing where they are. The only world anyone has is the world where he is now. Doesn't matter what it is, that's the world. That's where the light needs to shine. It has nothing to do with the seeming circumstances. It doesn't matter how the world may look. If the light isn't shining, one doesn't see it anyway. And when the light does shine in that world, it will be found to be something entirely different to what one thought it was. One doesn't need to move anywhere. Let your light so shine exactly where you are. Where else could you let it shine? To say, I will let it shine if I go over there, is a cop-out. If you can't let it shine here, you certainly can't let it shine where you're not. Let the light shine exactly where one is. One is there to let the light shine. That's why one is where one is. And when the light shines, creation occurs. The light will not shine if one is fussing about where one is, if one is imagining that one should be somewhere else or doing something else, or that the folk who are around me in my world not treating me the way I should be treated, or whatever it is. All that is beside the point. That is what is seen in the dark. Let the light shine, and it's transformed immediately. Well, I'll think about it. Maybe it'll be better tomorrow. I'll be feeling better tomorrow, and I'll be able to let the light shine. Now, what will make you feel better, do you think? Staying in the dark? Let your light so shine now. That is always the natural thing to occur. And when it does, all things are made new.
Martin, I am so thankful that I have my world and that I have my capacities and that they are perfectly made to make it possible for me to shine my light in my world. As this happens, there will be, and there are, from time to time, pockets of darkness. Oh, there's a little pocket of darkness. But light, as you have so wonderfully emphasized, has nothing to fear from darkness. And I am so thankful for the privilege of sharing with you this evening and with my friends here in this very light celebration of the beauty and glory of the one true light. It's just great. And I shall also remember your pithy summation of how to deal with any temptation to human opinion, IDM.
Martin, I'm so aware that no one else can let the light shine in my circumstances. I am here for that purpose. And if the restoration is to take place in my environment, it will be because the light is shining, because I am present.
Martin, it is my privilege to let my light shine in my world also. And in my home, a friend recently purchased a nightlight, and perhaps that may be symbolic of the fact that in our home, in my home, the light always shines.
Martin, I'm reminded of that beautiful scripture, the first chapter of John. In him was light, and the life was the light of men. And how wonderful it is to share, men and women together, to let the light shine. Not just our light, our individual light, yes, but that collective light that does dispel darkness unequivocally. It just cannot stay if the light is shining. How vast is creation, but the recreation is not insurmountable by any means. It just comes with the shining of the light. Love for the King and for the Spirit of life and for this blessed earth that we may all be in balance to the glory of our King.
Martin, if there's ever been if we've ever had fear for anything in our world, if we're really honest about it, the real fear is a fear of one's own light and the lack of trust in it. A lack of trust in its ability to distill the darkness. What a useless, silly fear to have. I am the sun, and whatever I need to light in my world is there in front of me. And I don't have to go anywhere. The only care that comes into the equation is making sure that my world can handle my light. There's where the care comes in for the earth. And as the sun rises in the morning, it doesn't try to blast everything at once. There's a discernment of what's fitting. There's no judgment. Maybe there need to be places of darkness in the world where I don't have to go yet. The world will come to me when there needs to be light there. I don't have to travel anywhere. The sun doesn't have to travel anywhere in relationship to the earth. How beautiful to be still in one place with a caring heart, an intelligent light that doesn't short fuse and flash out in a moment like a shooting star.
The light is stable. It's always present, sometimes more intense, sometimes less so, but it's always present. There's always that point of orientation. It's obviously there when the sun shines, but it's also there when the morning star is present. It provides a point of orientation. The yoke is easy and the burden light. We saw the burden this morning, relating it to the physical form, which is somewhat burdensome. That burden, the form of man, is light. That is the nature and quality of the form of man. It's fallen quite a ways from that experience. But the light is the creative power. By him all things were made, that are made. There's no problem from the standpoint of the light. The problem has been in the space which has been occupied by Satan. But to which Lucifer now returns. So that the light is born, and how quickly the creation occurs. As that steadfast light is maintained individually and consequently together. It is maintained individually in spite of what Chris spoke of as pockets of darkness. I don't really know what they would be if the light is shining. The sole concern is to let the light shine. We may have had to be convinced heretofore that we were in the dark. Most people don't imagine that they are in the dark when they are. So one has to be convinced on that point. Otherwise, it would seem as though there's no need for the light. Well, I have it already, I see, I know, I have my opinions. That's the usual attitude. But in insisting that he's in the light when he's in the dark. Or as long as one is in that condition, there's no hope. One must come to an awareness that one is in the dark. And then there is the recognition that the light must shine. And there is, consequently, one would suppose, if there's any intelligence around, a willingness to let the light shine. And behold, the darkness vanishes away. So in every circumstance, in every moment of our living, let your light so shine.